I'm here to do makeup. Okay, that's so stupid.
Sometimes I'm mystery, sometimes I'm free, depending on my mood or my attitude.
Hey beauties, so my name is Destany Lashelle, and if you don't know me, I've been talking about doing YouTube for so long, and the time has come, and it is now that I'm on YouTube. So I've been meaning to do this YouTube channel for so long, and I finally had the opportunity to be able to not only do it, but actually take my time and not rush through something and do it. Since I'm in college, I'm very busy, and I work majority of my time to support me going to college and what I want to get. So I hope that this journey will be like, I don't know, like something I enjoy and I not only love, but I grow in. Like, I'm growing doing makeup, growing doing hair. Y'all teach me how to grow, and I'm just so excited and I'm ready to start it. And so thank you for all the support. I hope y'all like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Let's jump into this video. Okay, hey beauty, so first I'm going in with the Ponds face moisturizer from Walmart, and I'm just rubbing that all in my dry areas of my face, basically my T-zone area, which is my forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin. And then we're gonna go in with our Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip-brow. In these clips, I didn't do the best job of recording because I moved really fast. So as I go in on this step of my eyebrows, which is very important to me, I hold dear to my heart, I take my time. So I'm using the Makeup Revolution concealer. I don't know exactly the shade, but I will link it below for you guys. And I just go in and I trace under my brows using very swift movement and trying to, while I lift the side of my eyebrows as you guys see me do, it's because that makes an arch for me already, because I don't arch my eyebrows. I don't have brows to arch, so I choose not to arch my eyebrows. I'll pluck here and there, but basically, yeah, we're whooping it out over here. So I go in with very swift movements and I just make defined strokes so that my eyebrows come out as neat as possible. And I already lined the top of my brows. At the end, I basically rush through this. If you guys would like to see a detailed eyebrow look, just let me know below and we'll go through it. It just takes so long to do eyebrows. It's such a tedious process. Now I'm going in with my e.l.f. Concealer brush, and I'm blending out all that concealer we laid down, because you don't want your concealer just sitting on your face. That's not cute, sis. So yeah, you're gonna go in and you're gonna blend it out as much as possible, because you're about to lay your foundation or prime before eyeshadow, which is a very important step also. So you're just gonna blend it out and blend it down as much as possible. I go in between my brows because that's what gives me the ombre look. I not really neat at the beginning of my brows because I like that ombre look. So now I'm going in with Tarte concealer. I am not exactly the shade, but I will link below. And I just dab it on. I prefer to use my fingers because it gives it, yeah, I'm just going in and using my fingers because it gives it a smoother finish and it blends it better than a brush could actually blend for me. So I just prefer my fingers. Why waste money on a brush when you have your fingers, sis? Come on. But we're just gonna go in and we're gonna use an actual brush this time, because the concealer shade and the first shade I applied under my brows are two separate colors. So I just want to make sure it has a defined blend, like a very good blend, because for dark skinned girls, using a lighter color concealer that you use to actually conceal your face, but a lighter one, make sure eyeshadow show up so much more. Like, trust me sis, invest. And so we're just going to go in with the Sacha Buttercup in the shade medium, and we're going to just set our concealer. And you want to just make sure you don't pick up too much powder, because it's going to cake up and you're about to put more eyeshadow on. So just make sure you just get a little. Then we're going to go in with Juvia's face palette. The palette name is Saharan. If I'm not sure, I will link it below. But we're going to just pick up that pretty orange shade, and we're going to pat that on our lid, because we're not blending yet. We're just making sure we like the color we're getting. So it's easier to add than to put too much. So I like to pat on first. And after we do that, we're just going to go in and we're going to apply it to the other eye. If you like the color, if you want to show up more, that's your choice. You just add as you go. It's better to add than to put too much and you have to redo your whole foundation and your eyebrows. So yeah, and then we're going to take it and we're going to blend up, because this is not the actual transition shade. This is the actual lid color that I want to use. So I learned this from a girl named Bazels on Instagram. This girl saved my life. Like, this is so much easier, and it makes a cleaner finish than to put your transition and then go in with your crease color. Just put your crease color first and then use your transition shade. So you're going to blend up because you don't want any harsh lines, and then you're going to use your actual transition shade, which is that pretty brown, light brown color I'm using, and we're just going to blend where the crease color and the transition shade meet, so it could be seamless, because sister girl, we want our eyeshadow to be seamless. So once you start seeing that it's blended well, you're just gonna make sure that it isn't any harsh lines. So where I started my crease color, I'm focusing on there because that's where I put most of my eyeshadow down at. So next we're going to go in with that pretty bright orange color, and we're going to pat that above the shade we just put down, just to make our eyes pop a little more. It's your choice. Like, if you want a subtle look, you don't have to put that color down. I chose because I want my eyes, I'm extra, I want my eyes to, like, I want you to see me 2 miles away, sis, so we're using that. But we're just going to blend that out roughly also, because I'm going to show you that this is where you want your color to go, because you want to separate where you place your first crease color and your transition shade, but you want to sit that a little above it. Now, as I go in, I'm going to make sure that's blended out. I'm using the first brush with the transition shade just to blend out seamlessly, because no harsh lines against this, none at all. And you're just going to go on top and just make sure everything is meeting seamlessly and everything is flowing. And then next we're going to go on another Juvia's face palette. I'm not sure what this one is. I think it's the Zulu palette, and we're gonna go in with that pretty brown shade, and I'm using a very defined blending brush, and I'm just gonna focus that right there in that corner of my eye. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna pat and tap and make sure that blends out roughly in the corner of the eye. What's crazy is this color isn't brown. It doesn't show up that brown shade. It shows up like an orangish brown, which is so pretty, you guys. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna focus that in the corners of my eyes. And next is for cut crease. You guys, I am no expert at cut creasing. I try my hardest, but it works for me. So an easier way for cut creasing is that you just draw from the middle of your eye down and look up, and that could be your foundation. You just make your line of how big and how small you want it. So as I go in and I'm cut creasing my eye, I'm trying to measure to see if I like how it's looking, and I like it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to blend the edges of my eyeshadow out with the pretty brown shade we picked up, just so that the concealer and the eyeshadow meet seamlessly, because you don't want your concealer, like, you don't want to see like, oh snap, what is that? Like, you don't want that. So we're just going to blend. Blending is key. Patience is key. So next we're going to pick up that pretty champagne color on the Tarte palette, but please make sure you guys are wetting the brush, because that makes that champagne color show up 20 times better. So I wet it with Mario Badescu, and I'm going in the beginning of my where I started cut creasing my eye, and I'm laying that down. When I lay it down, I don't drag, I pat, because I pick up, you get more bang for your buck, like you get more of the product. So I'm just patting it down, and I'm making sure I'm liking what I'm seeing. And then we're picking up the next shade is that pretty gold shade from the Saharan palette, if I'm not mistaken. And we're just gonna make sure, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ombre my shimmers. So I picked up a really light one, and then I picked up a deep golden one. And as I'm doing this, I'm making sure that my eyeshadow is blending with these shimmers on my lid, because you just want it blended. And as I go in, I do the same for my next eye, and I'm taking my time. While doing this, please take your time. It's okay if it takes 30 minutes, sis, because it took me an hour, if we're being honest. So we're just going to pat it and make sure it's blending. You're blending one on top of another. You want them to blend seamlessly, so please make sure there's no spaces between those shimmers, and you're using all the concealer that you lay down, the space for the concealer you lay down on your eyes. So as we go in, we're just patting, and we're making sure that I'm using all the space for my eyes and making sure everything is blended seamlessly out. And now you got this pretty ombre effect with shimmers on your lid, and that is so pretty, like so pretty, look. And so we're going in and we're going to blend the shimmers out and kind of smoke your eye out a little bit with that brown. And then we're going to pick up the transition shade just to blend out another. You can never blend too much, right? So we're going to go in and we're going to blend out the top of your, with your transition shade, the top of your eyeshadows. Just making sure that everything is seamless and everything is looking right, because I'm very tedious with this process of my eyeshadow and my brows. Like, this takes the longest time for me. So next, we're going to go in and we're going to clean up this eyeshadow. So for my face to look very clean, I like to go back on the sides of my eyeshadows and make it have like a wing effect. So I'm going to pick up that concealer in Makeup Revolution, and I'm going to go in. I'm just going to draw a line and to see how low, how high I want my eyeshadow to stop. And with this, it's not hard, you guys. This is an optional step. I like to do it because it's really not necessary. So you're going to go in and you're going to take that same concealer brush that I used from e.l.f. and I'm blending it down just to make sure that it's just not one, like the concealer fades out. And next, we're going to put down our eyeliner, and the eyeliner I'm using is e.l.f. from Walmart. This eyeliner is not the best eyeliner. So if you guys are beginners, please, I recommend you guys getting a matte waterproof liner, because this one is just not it, sis. I had to give in and get it because it's the only thing that was in my face, and they currently do not sell the one I prefer, which is the NYX one. So I'm just using this one to prep my eyelashes. So we're going in with the Revlon's mascara, and we're just going to make sure we get all the way for our eyelashes. Like, don't just prep the ones in your face, like get underneath and make sure you get the beginning of your eyelashes. And we're going to go in with these eyelashes I got from Orange Beauty Supply. Literally $3, and eyelash glue I got from Kiss. So as I prep my eyes, I like to prime my face while the lash glue dries, and I'm using the Porefessional Benefit from Benefit Cosmetics. And y'all, this here is something I will explain in a later video. But as I put my eyelashes on, it's very easy. If you want a detailed look on eyelashes, just let me know below, because literally one swift and my eyelashes is on. But it took a lot of practice and a lot of learning how to put lashes on, because y'all, it was a struggle. I used to make my mom put my lashes on for me, and then when I started doing it myself, like, my eyes would literally be closed because they were on wrong. Like, you could tell when your lashes are on wrong. So if you guys want to see a detailed look on how to put lashes on, just let me know and we can go into detail on that, because I struggled too, sis. I did too. So next, we're going to go in with this L'Oreal foundation. I will link the shade below, but you guys, this foundation is life. Like, for dark skinned girls, if you struggle finding a foundation, L'Oreal came through for us, sis. They nailed it, because I love it. The only thing I don't like is that it's oily, and it says it's oil free, but it's oily. But they came through. So I put this on with a regular brush, and I'm just going to go in with my e.l.f. foundation brush, and I'm blending in. This foundation brush is life too. I think it's only like $4, so please invest in this, because it's the best brush ever to blend out foundation, especially if you don't use it like the beauty blender. I use it for concealing, but I don't use it to lay foundation down. So I'm going in and I'm just matching it to my skin tone. This foundation is buildable, so you can add or take away as much as you want, but I put a pretty good sum on my face, so I'm pretty much good. So I go in and I just take the same brush I use to put my foundation on my face. I just go above my eyebrows to blend out the concealer, because you just don't want no harsh lines of concealer. So that makes it easier for me, and it lets me get closer to my brows. So I just go in and I blend it, and blend it where you define your eyeshadow too. And you're just making sure everything is blended seamlessly. Like, look at this color on my face. Like, it's just, I love it. I love it. So we're gonna go in and we're just blending, making sure no dark marks are coming through the foundation. I do not color correct, but if you would like to, it's optional, you can. And then I go in with the Fit Me powder, and I take it and I just set it around my face just to set that foundation and take some of that all out. And then next, I'm going in with my Makeup Revolution concealer, and I'm putting it under my eyes, on my nose, above my lip, my forehead, and my chin. So with the concealer under the eyes, please do not put it directly under your eyes. Let it have some space, because you're blending it up. You don't want it to be too cakey. Next, we're going to end with this Black Radiance concealer cream contour kit, which is literally $7, and this is all I use for my contour. So I go in and I trace out my cheekbones, and I like to bring it up as high as I can by the corner of my eyes, because it just gives my face the shape that I wanted to go for. Like, it's hard to explain, but it just makes your cheeks come in at a slanted angle and just makes your face look more snatched. So I do this because I like to let my concealer sit in my face. So after it's sat for a while, I go in and I blend it. As I blend up, you can never blend too much with this step. So at this step, you just want to make sure everything is meeting seamlessly. As in like your eyeshadow, it's like nothing before, but you just want to make sure that this foundation will look like skin, sis. Like, you want to make sure that people will not be able to clock your foundation and clock your concealer. So just make sure that it melts into your skin. You will only know that. So once you figure out that it's melting and you like the way it's coming out of look, please blend up into where we contoured it first. So I'm making sure that I'm blended up into my forehead on where I laid that contour down, and I'm going close to my eyebrows as I can, so there won't be no harsh concealer lines, because in the end we just wanted to blend all the way throughly. I know I keep bouncing back and forth from my face, but if I feel like another place needs product where I picked up the latest product yet that I didn't blend in yet, I just go back and put it where it needs to be put. So here I am going back in with some more concealer around my edges again, and this is where I flip my beauty blender over to a new spot, and I'm just blending it all together. I'm patting it down and I'm blending. So now I'm going in with a small detail brush and I'm going to carve out my nose. The trick to this is not to breathe, sis. So I just go in where my nose is between my eyes, and I draw a straight line down and I just carve it out. You want to make sure that when you're drawing these lines, you go all the way up, like, so it's untraceable. Then I go back in with concealer and I just put it in the middle of my nose, just to have a base of like how wide and how small I want it to be. I go back in with my beauty blender, which is damp, and I blend it all together to make it seem seamless on my face. I'm just going back, blending under my eyes to make sure I'm not having no creases, and making sure that the concealer is set in. And then I'll go and wet my beauty blender with Mario Badescu spray, and I'm putting Sacha Buttercup, and that's when I'm going to pat it under my eyes. With this, I don't pick up too much and I don't pick up too little, and I kind of like just pat it inside my skin. I don't let it sit on top of my skin. I want it to melt inside of my skin. And this is where your nose is going to be snatched. Please, this is how you're not going to breathe. You're going to go in and you're going to put your powder on both sides of your nose. You're going to drive it all the way up of how thin you want your nose to look or how wide you want it to look, and then you're going to sit that on your skin. The trick to this is make it realistic. My nose is fat and I kind of like it to go in because I have a big nose. So I try to take as much as away from it as I can, if you will. So I go in and I'm just patting this Sacha Buttercup all over my face, trying to make sure it's sitting seamlessly on my face. And I go in the middle of my nose. I always use the other side of my beauty blender and I just drive it straight down. It makes a straighter line for me. That's optional. After that, I'm taking the powder from the Black Radiance and I'm going in and I'm setting it. Just going in where I cream contoured it first, and I'm going back over it with the powder. This is where I come to life at. This is my favorite step. I know y'all probably heard this all the time, but no. This is where I get my color back to my face, because I like to make myself look my real complexion, which is dark. So even though I like to highlight and contour, this is where I get my color back from. So I do contour a lot. So as I go in, I'm just making sure I'm liking where I'm putting my contour powder at. With this, I blend all the way up to the corners of my face like I cream contoured. I go back over it, my cream contour on my nose, and I'm just blending it down, carving out where I want it to go in. And the shape of my nose is coming out nicely, I'm seeing. And I just go back in with my beauty blender to let it sit in my face. This takes me a while because sometimes I mess up. So I do go over my line again in the middle of my nose, because I just want that line to be there, because that's what's gonna like lay down my foundation for my highlighter. Next, I'm going in and I'm going to clean up my brows. So when I was putting powder down, as you notice, I did powder my eyebrows because it makes your eyebrows stay in place and it looks cleaner and it looks neater, and your eyebrows will just sit on your face all day. So I go back in after with the powder still on there and I clean up under my brows. This is what gives my brows a very defined look and make them pop out on my face. I don't know why, but I just picked this up as I went and I love it. So I go back in and I clean up. This is my cleanup step for my brows. So next I'm going in, I'm carving out my cheekbones with the Sacha Buttercup. You just go on what based on your face, if you want your face to look smaller or more cut and defined. I do this. I take pride in this step. So if you don't, you can skip this step. It's very optional. But I go in and I make sure the lines that I'm drawing will be seamless but very defined. So I make sure it's on a straight line and even, and I kind of pat the powder in when I go back in with the brush. So this step is basically me seeing if I like my makeup, and I do. So this step is me taking my shimmer and my glitter glue and I'm laying it down, and I'm going above where I cut my crease with this pretty champagne color, and I'm going to be very careful because one wrong step can mess up your whole eye. This is optional also, and I'm just giving it an extra oomph to my eye, and I go in and I'm just tracing it out and making sure I like the way it seemed. This is me being extra. Please, if you don't want to do this, skip it and we can meet back up later in the video. So next, this is me going in with my Fit Me face powder. I place it everywhere we carved out our cheekbones and everywhere we place powder at. It just gives your face a cleaner finish. So we're just going to go in and we're going to smooth everything out and place the powder down. And we just want to make sure that it's all flowing evenly on your face. So after we like how it's smoothing out, and I go back in with my powder contour, I go in to smoke out my bottom lash line with all 3 shades we used in our lid color. So I'm pick up this orange shade and I'm smoking it out basically to the end, and then I'm going to blend it towards the corner of my eye, the inner corner of my eye. You're doing that for both eyes, and then you're going to lay down all 3 shades you put in your lid. You're just going to go in and you're going to make sure that everything is smoothing out. After you place all 3 shades, you want them all 3 to show, so please make sure all 3 shows. You can clean up as much as you need. That's me going in and cleaning up and making sure I like how it's laying out. So I go back in with my beauty blender, clean everything up with my contour and my powder. Next, I'm laying down my mascara, which is very hard for me. That's why I had to scoot all the way up, because one wrong move and you can mess up everything that you just did. So I go in and I spray my Mario Badescu spray all over my face and let that sit. And after that sits for a while, I kind of let it dry just a tad bit. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to make sure my concealer, my powder, and everything sinks into my skin. That's why I go back in with my beauty blender. Next, we're taking Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit, and we're going to go in with that pretty golden color. And we're going to just basically wait till your face is dry like I did before and put it down, because I like the way it shows when your face is semi-dry than when it's wet. Like, I don't like to glow that much, especially if I have no reason to, but please believe I do put on a lot of highlighter. I love highlighter. So I put it on my cheekbones, on my lip bow, and then I put it on my nose, and sometimes I go in the inner corner ducts of my eye, but I already laid down the silver color off camera. So I go in above my brows and I put a little highlighter, just a tad. And this is me cleaning up the inner corner ducts of my eye, and I'm wetting the brush so it can show up more, and I'm putting more of that silver shade down. I'm cleaning my lips to prep them for lip liner, and I'm using a NYX pencil in the shade Chestnut, if I'm not mistaken. And I like to draw my lip liner on because it just flows well with my lip gloss. I don't like putting lip gloss on without lip liner. I cannot stand it. So it became a habit of mine to put this on. And as I trace my lips, I just like to go with my natural trace in my lips because I already have full lips. So I like to clean up the lip bow because it just shows better with my dark lip liner, and I just like the way it looks. So I go back in and I clean that up, and then I'm gonna put concealer on, you guys. People always like, oh, what's your lip combination? I use a chestnut dark brown pencil in the brand NYX, and I put concealer on my lips, and I kind of dab it in lightly, and I make sure it blends out seamlessly on my lip. Sometimes I put it on with a clear gloss, or sometimes I just put the NYX lip gloss on, I will link the shade below or the color below because I'm not really sure. And I go in and I just make sure it blends seamlessly. And then I just put that NYX lip gloss on top, and boom, here's our lip color. It's so pretty, so natural. I just love it. This is my go-to lip color. So I go in and I make sure that I don't have any harsh lines by not picking up any more contour powder, but just using the same brush that we use to contour. And I clean up my nose highlight, and I make sure it's showing how I want it to show. This is preferred, so whatever you prefer, you just go in and clean up. I'm just making sure everything is flowing the way I would like it to flow. So next step will be blush, which I found to be one of my most favorite steps recently that I added to my makeup routine. So I just go in with that Pretty Berry shade from the Zulu palette, and I just blend it out roughly on my cheeks. As I keep focusing on my lip bow, because I want that to stand out more on my face, I go in next with my NYX matte setting spray just to set my foundation and everything on my face, and because I want it to sit very well and I want it to stay. So I go in with the beauty blender and I blend out the roughly. This is me just feeling myself and liking how my makeup comes out. And that's it, you guys. That's the end of the look. This is all we have. And I'm so glad you guys tuned in.